And we are live coming to you from the dirty South, Winston-Salem, on this Mother's Day. Happy Mothers to all the mothers out there that might be walking by a computer and accidentally hear me talking. Uh, or if you are a mother that's watching us, I appreciate you watching. What's up, man? Jeannie, what's up, WV or WVogs? Nice for you to join me. Hodges, what's up, man? I didn't know you had a channel. I wish you would say. I know you're kind of new to my channel. And what's up, Orlando? I more than invite anybody to promote their channel in my chat. It doesn't bother me. You can let us know what you got coming up, and that'd be, perfectly fine with me. That's cool. What's up, Joe? I moved my time for you, man, so you can join in. Got to have Joe, at least in my, my chat. I'm going to be 8 o'clock from now on. I know that might be crossing over. I appreciate y'all must be watching dual channels or multiple screens. I don't know what y'all are doing. I appreciate y'all coming over and seeing what I got going on tonight. I know most of my views come from the rewatch. People driving. I listen to a lot while I'm riding. I listened to some of Hodges today. More as a podcast than anything else. With some of them, and then I do have it up. So if you're showing cards, I can get a glimpse every once in a while in my car. But I do it safely so far. Because my way my work schedule is now, I go in I got to be at work at 7 a.m. So I get up, I got to be up by 6. So 9 was kind of, I felt like I was rushing last week to get off. I really liked where the conversation was. And usually I have an after show with the friends, and more people get off from work or whatnot, or join the conversation, which anybody can join. You just hit me up at either Facebook or Instagram, or let me know, hey, what y'all join the chat afterwards. It's a lot of times a lot of fun. Probably not tonight because and you can always hit me up to be on the channel. I told you, Vogs, I got to get you on. I like what your chats are more relaxing. I not always about cards. I really enjoy that. Sadler fan missed the last couple of lives. Glad to catch this one. Yeah. I see the cars. So I guess you're into racing. Are you from Virginia, or are you just like Sadler racing? But yeah, so I'm really thankful for y'all coming in, seeing us. I got my new hat on. I really can't see the pink in the light on the NY, but you can see the pink underneath. I got the game on too. I live here in Winston-Salem, so the Braves are blacked out for me. Oh, okay. I got you. Oh, okay. That's cool. I live just north of where he's from, so I was kind of we all know who the Sadlers are. There's a whole town that they pretty much own. It's his father, dealerships and stuff. So yeah, I couldn't watch the game. So tonight it's on. It's the ESPN game. So a lot of pink. A little known fact too. If you go on like MLB or one of your team sites, after one of these specialty games, they do raffle or do auctions, and things like that, auction off some of the gear that was worn into the game. So they don't publicize that very much. I have tried in the past to get some David Wright stuff back in the day. I don't know if I'll try tomorrow or tonight later or whatnot, see if they got any Pete Alonso stuff from tonight's game, because they can't wear the pink stuff or use the bats anymore until, I don't know if they do a breast cancer awareness sometime during the year. But like Father's Day, they do the baby blue stuff. I know Armed Forces Day is coming up, which is kind of like the same as July 4th. But I just like to pass that on to people. If you didn't know that a lot of this stuff will be auctioned off tonight or tomorrow or in the upcoming weeks. So sports cards. If you haven't got your Skeen Now card, I haven't. I'm gonna go get it now. After tonight, I just thought about it while coming on. He does have a card out with the Pirates. It'll be the Topps Now series on Topps.com. I'm sure it's going to be one of their probably most printed cards since like Jason Dominguez or Dela Cruz call up. I'm trying to think of some other big prints in the past, some big names that got called up in the past. I haven't looked at it. Has anybody looked to see if it? I'm hoping it's a rookie card and not a call up card. I don't think we've gotten late enough yet for the call up card. No, it's a rookie card. So Estes has a rookie card. Westberg, his is a rookie card. Me and my dad talked about him today. He's just straight balling. Nah, skip it. Okay. So yes, it is a rookie card. What I mean by that is, if you're not aware, if you want to know they're going to have a rookie card in any product and in the either the flagship, that's a good way to look, because that means Skeens will probably be, if he's not in 2, he'll be in update. And if you hear that dog, I'm so sorry. It's my neighbor's dog. When they go to let him out, he goes crazy. To tinkle. Sorry about that. Or if it says call up, that means they won't have a rookie card until next year's product, like Dela Cruz and some of those other guys that everybody was bitching about last year, like me. I thought they came up early enough, but usually I think it's like later in June, maybe later this month, we'll probably start seeing call-up cards for anybody that comes up. So I'm looking for a couple more Orioles to come up, and probably, players all through the league. Seems like everybody has 1 or 2 guys in the minors that probably could be playing the pros. Another team to be looking at, like, I think for young talent right now, is the A's. Me and my dad talked about them. They're sneaky coming up a little bit. I think they're sneaking up. They have some talent on that team. I have been high on JJ Bleday. He's a former number 1 from the Marlins, went to the A's. They got some other guys, some good bullpen. Great time right now. I have been watching a little WNBA highlights of preseason. I've been saying all along, if they don't sell these women, this year, and I know that I got to watch my terminology because I don't want to sound like they're selling women. But you know what I mean. If they can't sell this product this year, I don't know when they will ever be able to sell women's basketball at preseason games. They're having huge crowds. And they seem to be putting on a good product. So I'm hoping people watch. I'm gonna try to watch some games. Like I'm gonna put my money where my mouth is. If I want to talk about it, I might as well watch a little bit too. I'm not a big basketball fan, but it's more of a team game, so I think I'm more fit for that. Uh, you know, NBA playoffs. If you're into that, I'm sure I've heard a couple of cards. I've seen a couple of cards kind of take off in price. So I hope your guy is. I hope they're. If you're selling, I hope you're doing well with it, and I hope if you're buying, I hope you're doing well with that too. Because I don't know how y'all have been, but I have continued even this week with offers. I talked about it Saturday. I've had to kind of stop this week or right now buying. Um, and it's not like I'm, you know, brokering. I just have a hard number I look at, and that's where I stop. What's up, Maz or Maz? I'm sorry. Uh, I'm doing good. Hope you're doing well tonight. Uh, so I always look, at things, and once I feel like I need to stop, I stop. I'll get this Skeens tonight, and that's pretty much it. Because I'm only 11 weeks away. I don't know how many people are going to the national. Feels like it's going to be a well attended show again. I don't think it's going to be the Chicago like last year. That was crazy. Um, I drove to it every day from our Airbnb, only a couple of blocks, but driving up in there and seeing the mass of people or looking out upstairs over the mass of people, because I was very limited in my mobility last year with my back. I've talked about it several times. I'm trying to take better care of myself, so I'll be ready this year. I'm even walking, getting my steps in, making sure I am ready for that show. And I'm still planning on going to see Joe in Toronto in November for the expo. Um, yeah, hockey, NHL. Almost forgot NHL going off. I still cannot find any 22 or 23-24 product on the shelves. It doesn't make me mad. It makes me kind of happy that a player of that can one player can do that in a sport. I'm wondering if WNBA has a product with these women that are in it now do the same thing that Bedard has done in my area of the country for hockey. Hockey product sits on a shelf. 22, 23 I could find. 23, 24. And I know I'm not okay, let's just take this at any sport, right? Bedard has made this crazy, and I love it. I love it for hockey. I love it for us as uh collectors, sellers. It's put a little juice out there, a little buzz. Uh, you know, he was, it was well talked about at the expo, from what I understand. And he's not even in the playoffs. He was hurt part of the season, but we know he's going to be the man. Uh, I am following him a little bit. Dot, Joe, it is crazy down here. I'm about not even an hour, 45 minutes, an hour from Raleigh, from the stadium. And I mean, their parking lot is packed. You can't get tickets. It's pretty crazy. Yeah. I don't know I don't know how old you are, Sadler fan, but I played, the 93, 94, 95 Sega. That was got me really into hockey, along with, I was a Gretzky fan. We had a minor league team in Richmond that my parents got me season tickets for every year, and a book of 4 for every game. So I always sold some to my friends, and I mean, we would have 2 carloads of people going to hockey games. We loved hockey, and the minor league was so much fun going to. Uh, it was a lower league. I can't remember. Trying to think. Pennsylvania, did they have a team in that league? So you know what team? I can't remember what league it was. What the name? I want to say it was the EHL, but I could be very wrong. They finally got apart. Like the Flyers started doing something with them. My local OHL team is Erie Otters. Great games. Yeah. When I was in Iowa, there was hockey everywhere. There was a junior league team that was one town over that they built a new so JC Penney's closed up, pretty much dead mall. The town took the mall, tore down the JC Penney's, and built like a 6,000 seat arena for the junior hockey team. But I mean, it was also now it's where all the like little junior leagues and all the little leagues. I don't know what to call them. Hockey plays, their tournaments. They have MMA fighting in there. That's pay-per-view fights. You know, it's like UFC, but it's a couple level or two down because Iowa is huge wrestling area, so a lot of those guys go into MMA. It's an easy transition for them into judo and other contact sports in that area. So, that was very smart of them to do that. They took a dead mall, and what my LCS was there, and it was funny. I was helping him get hockey cards so he could have hockey because he knew, and it was right. It didn't matter what it was. If he put it out there, it was going to sell. So it was smart on that mall's part to do that. And it's a beautiful, beautiful arena. Bernard is playing in the Worlds right now. He had 2 goals today versus Denmark. Man, that dude, I mean, what he played this year on not a good team, he showed that he's good, that he's everything about him is true. So, and I know not everybody loves hockey, but it is the playoffs right now. We're getting in the real swing of baseball where you're starting to see who's got the better teams. I still think there's a lot of mediocrity in the baseball this year. There's 4 or 5 really good teams, and everybody else is kind of 500, it looks like. But that's fine. That's going to make the season fun. A lot of injuries, which makes my fantasy team suck right now. If you're playing fantasy baseball, I feel sorry for you. I saw that on my ESPN fantasy, they were pushing the WNBA fantasy. I wonder how big that is. I don't want to judge because I want everybody to succeed, and I just feel like that league, if they can't do it, I mean, Reese is a powerhouse. That first round of women that was drafted this year, all stars, all of them. If they're playing in Europe somewhere, they would be goddesses. Here, not so much. It's just, and I think the women's sports is starting to be elevated. Like I talked to my dad today. I don't know if y'all knew this, but I did not realize that Clemson and Duke's women's softball programs have only been around for 4 years. 4 years. Duke is won ACC regular season and tournament this year. And they played FSU, which is a powerhouse in women's softball. Clemson was okay, but I'm just saying, I thought these schools always had women's softball, and they didn't. That's my point. And for Duke to already have a good team, I mean, Clemson took the Stanford coach, which Stanford's always been a powerhouse in women's softball. So I'm really glad that women is starting. I'm hoping what's happening in basketball will transcend into other women's sports. And I think that'll just be better for all of us sports people. And I mean, I've been saying it before, and I hate to say a word amazement, but every show I go to, I see more and more women, young women there. And you're not just accompanying their husbands or boyfriends or going there as a family and they're getting dragged to the event because they didn't have nobody to keep the younger ones. They're there collecting too. And that just makes it diversity. It just makes it better. We just love it, man. How much are tickets typically for Division One softball games? Can't be too much, Doc. I didn't look to see. The tournament was in Durham, which is not too far from me, a little over an hour. It can't be, but so much. Oh, I can't remember where they play the national championship, where their World Series is, because now they'll go to regionals and super, just like the baseball, the men do, regional, super regionals, and then the World Series. Yeah, women's soccer is on a huge upswing as well. Well point, Sadler fan, because that's also feeding off of the national team, and also I think what LSU, South Carolina, I keep wanting to call them USC, but what South Carolina, Iowa, USC, with Juju, you got all these teams now. UConn, they're still Tennessee's okay. You still have teams. I think I remember back in the day where Tennessee was a powerhouse, then UConn, and now it's USC. But now USC has to have a white hat, you have to have a black hat, which has been LSU. That's made it the game so much, brought people to watch. Nobody would have, back in the day, watched Muhammad fight nobody. He had to have somebody to fight. Mike Tyson had to have Buster Douglas. You have to have somebody to make people want to watch. And that's what's happening is more and more females are playing year round, getting better, personal training, and it's not just a small group, and they're balling. They're playing just as well as the men. They just can't, in basketball, they can't dunk. They're just not as fast or as physical. But I can tell you what, when I watch a women's basketball game, they're physical. Jesus Christ. It feels like they put pads on them. They already have, and I'm not talking about lingerie football. They got real women's football. They play football in pads, semi-pro leagues. They're just not, nobody knows about them. They're countries now, they do have 7-on-7 flag football teams. I don't know if they have that here. I haven't heard of it. I know down in Mexico it's big. So, and the reason why I'm bringing this up is it just makes it better for all of us. More diversity, more blood in the game, more people with the hands out, in the pot. I just think it's great. I really do. I purchase the Big Ten Plus package every year to watch women's soccer. There you go, Hodges. So you're a Big Ten fan, Hodges? I'm trying to get to know some of the newer people. I love Michigan, so don't hold that against me. I wanted to play at Michigan growing up. I was a huge Bo Schembechler fan. When I was a little kid. Oh, cool. So when I was a little kid, cable was in its infancy. You only got 1 or 2 college games every weekend, and it seemed like it was always Michigan or Notre Dame. So I just loved Michigan when I was a kid. I'm a UVA fan, so by default, we have to have another team that does something to win to have more of a fun with the season. Because football, we're not very good. ACC football, and if some of those teams that want to leave, it's not. I know. I heard Virginia wants to leave now. It's confusing to me. College football is very frustrating to me right now. I know I used to love it. I got a buddy he gets so upset at the end of college football. We have to call him and make sure he's okay. He also played D3, but he still played. If he was my size, he would have probably got paid to play. but he wasn't. He was considerably shorter than me, but he was really, really good. But yeah, that's why I wasn't even planning, and I'm glad I am talking about this here on this Mother's Day weekend, because that's the other thing. These women have to give up, or put off having families. A couple of the basketball players will lose, they'll lose a season to have a child, and they have to plan it, or to where they'll be back in shape to play the next season. And that those things like that we don't think about when it comes to women, and everything they got to put up with is women, misogyny and everything else. It's a tough road for them. It really is. Uh, yes, he is. My dad has been following Skeens. My dad loves college baseball too, so he watched him all through the tournament last year. He even brings up Dunn on the show. He watched the game that he pitched. I didn't get to see it. My dad watched it. He was a little upset at how it turned out, because it was just he felt bad because of the rain. And I told him, he was probably a little tired anyway, because in the uh minors, he just he only pitched like 2 or 3 innings. Hold up, let's see here. And they never pitched him past 3 innings. And my dad said he only pitched 3 innings. So I was like, well, and he started walking people in the fourth. Hey Mike, if you're watching, try that. I got it up there before that. You can't get to it. Oh, okay. I saw what he did. Uh, he posted. I guess the Cleveland Guardians have now posted their uh uniform for, because it's got Quan showing it off. I don't I don't see it too bad for me. I mean, it's still the same colors. It says CLE on the front, real big. I think they all look like little league or softball jerseys. I kind of like the Mets. The part of the Mets I didn't like about the jersey is the hat, which I did order because I try to get all the game hats. I got that one coming, and probably order the Armed Forces one next week. Uh, I I don't see a too big of a. That's better than most. I'm not a. I like the Phillies hat. I just didn't like their uniform. They said 75 pitches was his high this year going into yesterday's debut. Yeah, I saw that too, and I don't have. I know they're trying to save him. You know, college pitching is different now than what it used to be. Back in the day, they would use them up, and they didn't really. You had to be exceptional for them to draft them a pitcher out of college, because they used them up so much. I always use Ben McDonald as one, because he played at LSU, he went through the World Series, and they pitched him all the time. Well, now they don't. Skeens was their Friday night pitcher. That's all he pitched. He pitched on Friday nights every 7 days. Um, they play a midweek game. Usually that's their bench players. That's when they get their time in. And then they have a weekend series. They have 3 guys that'll pitch the weekend, and you pitch your day. Back when, like, 80s, 90s, they a lot of those teams in the South played 60 games. they played in the spring, fall. They had as many games as they could possibly play, but the NCAA stepped in and stopped that. So everybody has the same schedule now. Uh, so these guys, they only pitch like every 7 days now. So that's what was surprising me with Rocker when he came out from Vanderbilt, and he was having arm issues with when the Mets drafted him, and the Mets decided not to sign him, and he went back to Vanderbilt. I think he started last year in a couple of games at the end of the season. I don't think he's up right now though. But he doesn't have the same arm. I noticed in that World Series that year, he was different. And so I don't know what happened to him. He never really came out and said, but I'm sure, your arm's only built but so well. I mean, look at, Strider, some of these other guys that just have, Strasburg. They just throw so hard on every pitch, trying to get as much spin rotation as they possibly can. Snapping those pitches off can't be good for your arm. It just can't be. I just I feel like that is the biggest issue with pitching right now. And this year, there's just injuries galore all over the league. It's not just pitching. Quan's out with the Guardians right now with a thumb issue, and they don't know what it exactly is wrong with him. So, these guys, they got like 3% body fat. They're just one big rubber band ready to pop. And I think that's part of what's wrong with them as well. They don't have, I know they're flexible, but they don't have that flexibility that you need sometimes, especially with hamstrings and stuff like that. I would, I would have loved to have been built like them. Maybe I'd have got paid to play a little baseball. But, I have muscle. I just keep it well protected underneath my fat. But yeah, I wanted to, I guess, talk a little bit about the women tonight. And let me ask you all this, and then if you watch this later, tell me down below. If like a woman's sport, because like Caitlin's stuff took off this year. My buddy that runs a shop out in Iowa said if he got a card in, it went right out. Oh, okay. I like the picture, Mike. Hi, Mike.
What's up, Dr. Scott 35? How are you?
All right. I don't know. What's with the doctor?
Oh, yeah. I was just, before I got on, you were talking about, how it can't be good for your arm to snap off these balls. So,
yeah. I've been saying it all along, but
I'm pretty sure you're correct.
Yeah. Well, Ed was the first one that really, I mean, I've said it before, but Ed was the one really pushing it early. But I'm throwing this question out there, Mike, to everybody. If a women's sport took off and they started selling cards, would you? I know WNBA's had cards, but they haven't had a class like they got this year. I would argue that. Or classes coming out, there's more stacked up behind them in college. And with the NIL deal, women to be dumb to leave college right now if they have a good NIL deal to come play basketball because they're making more money in college than they would in WNBA. And then they're goddesses at their college. But would you be likely to like buy WNBA or soccer or women's softball if it was starting to be a thing?
I mean, for my collection, unlikely. I mean, if other people were interested, I would buy some and sell some a little bit here and there. But I mean, it's not to say I couldn't get interested, but I'm pretty.
You hate women. That's what you're saying.
I guess so. No, I mean, I'm just pretty narrow. Like I collect baseball and football is really narrowed down. I don't buy as much for myself as I used to, like back in the later 90s. And in baseball, I mean, people can see if they watch the Mail Days, like it's very heavily Phillies focused. Not to say I'm not interested in everything, but I don't really venture out too much. I have a handful of hockey cards. I have a handful of basketball cards, but I have very, very limited. It's just
I would agree with that. Yeah,
that's just kind of the way I do things.
Well,
I'm
I'm
not.
kind of kicking myself that I didn't try to pick up some Caitlin cards, or because now they're so overpriced.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not. It's just not something that like the way I collect certain things like that. You know what I mean?
Right.
Like I'm not someone like I had from back in the day Kobe Bryant rookies, Tim Duncan rookies, like the Topps Chrome stuff, probably some refractors. Do I wish I still had them because of their value? Not to be an anti-ed guy. Yeah, of course, because they have value now. I wish I didn't get rid of them, 20 years ago for probably like $10 a pop when they're worth a couple hundred. Like most people would do, kick
Right.
themselves. It doesn't matter if it's a stock or a card or whatever you might have had back in the day.
Right.
But like, I don't regret not having them in my collection. Like, I don't, even if they're Hall of Famers and greats, I'm just not connected to basketball. Like,
Right.
from a
I do
collector's
have
level.
some of the late 80s and 90s guys, like, but nobody cares about them. I don't think people, like, I got Dr. J rookie, I got, Isaiah, cards. I had Isaiah Thomas and Karl Malone and that group of players, but really nobody.
I think you just reminded me. I think I do have one. I think it's a WNBA card that's signed. Debbie Black, I believe is the name, and she had gone. I mean, this is years before I graduated, but she was an alumni of my high school.
Okay.
So I think I picked one of those up years ago. I mean, of course, it was dirt cheap. It was only a couple dollars.
Right.
So like, it's not to say I wouldn't pick up a card or buy a card here or there if it had some sort of connection or meaning. It's just I'm not a wide sport. I'm not someone who just collects cards, collects sports. Like I collect the things I'm super passionate about.
Yeah, and
me
I'm
personally.
the same way, but I feel like a hypocrite right now because I've been talking up because I just want to see everybody succeed. I think women's sports has a place. Do I think it's an equal footing with men's sports? No. But I want them to do well enough where they don't not in a fear that this is going to be their last season. And if they can't move up another notch or two, I think they can make a great leap going forward in WNBA. And if it helps pull up other women's sports, I think it'll bring more women into all areas of the sporting realm, including collecting, which we already have a huge jump in women.
I mean, I think it'll be interesting when WNBA cards come out this next year, specifically Prison. Like, I don't want to see them be $400 or $500 a box, and I don't want to see blasters being bought out in the stores for 25 and selling for like 75. But I think it'd be an okay premium if they were, they sold out of stores and were like $40, and there was actually people having fun pulling this stuff. Like, I think that would be exciting for the hobby. But like, I just like personally, just not. I'm just not a basketball guy at this point.
Now, Dr. Joe, did you watch the women's league this year play? I try to watch a game. Women's hockey, I tried to watch the Team USA play a couple of games. Women's hockey to me is I can't watch college hockey because it's so slow to me after watching professionals. It just seems to be a much slower sport. But do you watch any women's pro hockey, Joe? That'd be interesting to know. Are you watching tonight's game?
You talking to me?
Yeah.
I have not put it on. It's Braves Mets, right?
Yeah. A lot of pink.
Oh, I saw a little bit of the Phillies today. I worked early in the day and then got together, had some family, some Mother's Day hangout stuff. So.
I thought you might have said you wouldn't be on tonight because you're watching another channel. I won't say anything about it.
I wasn't watching. I'm behind on my YouTube watching, that's for sure, for today.
Got a diecast of it. and got it autoed by her from an Indy 8-hour race. Oh, okay. Nice. Sadly, I used to do, I love racing. I used to love open wheel. Then I got into NASCAR. I just can't do everything. I actually sold all my NASCAR stuff and only kept a few Virginia drivers.
What a surprise there.
Yeah.
What is NASCAR popular down by you?
Oh my dude. So back in the day it was called the Winston Cup, right? I don't know. So the actual Winston Museum was on the other side of the town, homie. They just closed it up this spring. And I saw the building the other day for the first time. It's by
I remember back in the day, at the flea market, a lot of people would be really into the NASCAR. So like that's another thing. Like I understand it's popular and stuff. I don't know enough about it. But obviously people collect that stuff, and that's cool.
Are you watching a screen right now? Do you have our video up?
I can bring it up. I literally just got in front of a computer this second.
Then don't worry about it. I was going to show you my new Virginia 8x10. I got auto. And show it to everybody, but it's Teal. He's one of the top prospect catchers in baseball.
You can pull it up. I just got it up here.
I bought it for $13. He's one of the top prospects. University of Virginia. Mike is a really good friend. I wish I could have got up early enough yesterday or made an effort. He sent me a. Did you see it, Mike?
Yeah, I just caught a glance.
So I just want to tell everybody he sent me a link to a thing up nearby him for an auction. And if I could, there was a picture and a jersey, I would have definitely probably. I didn't know what to offer on it was the reason why I didn't call and make an offer. I had no idea. So I didn't want to go way over, and I didn't want to.
But they would have done like live bidding with you, so you could have done the phone bid if you were available, and then you just kind of. But you don't really know exactly how it's going to go.
Obviously. Yeah, I would love to know what those two pieces went for.
If I was able to attend, I definitely would have looked out for you. But unfortunately,
yeah, I know. That picture, I think it was like early 1900s. That was amazing. And then the uniform, it didn't have any details, so I didn't know like what to even look to see what something like that would go for.
Yeah, that's the hard thing but that's not good with details. Their website's not great.
I mean, as soon as I hit the link, it came right up, and there were some other cool pictures that were in that live.
They do get some bids from different areas, but usually it's a lot of they will get phone bids, but a lot of times people just can't be there.
Right.
Then.
Right.
There's some others that are a little more. They actually do some online auctions, but as soon as I saw it, I was like, "Oh, I gotta at least let Scott know about this."
Yeah, I really do appreciate it. And I just want to let everybody know what. I'm gonna talk really good about Mike for a minute. I believe Mike is one of the better ones that is OG in this community. And if you ever have a question, and I don't want to put Mike on the spot, but you can reach out to him, and that's how me and Mike got to be friends. Is I reached out to him about tops. Do you remember that? Like in the middle of the night, I sent you a message, and I didn't think you were going to be up, but I was working overnight. You texted me back. I was like, okay. We started talking, and
I probably should have realized you were a Mets fan sooner.
Yeah, so I'm the same way. If you have a question, I'm always available. I put on my about page. You can contact me on Facebook. I think I have my email on there, and I have my Instagram. But if you email me, I'm going to tell you right now, you're going to have to let me know you're emailing me and what your name is on the email for me to open it. Because that, for phishing and stuff like that. So I have to be careful with. I should have created a different email, but I didn't think about it. Now I'm too lazy to change it. So I'm always available. I get questions. We got a question this week about where to get stamps
from the post office. No.
Oh no, like, and I mean, CGC. I think they're one of the world's leading authenticators of stamps.
Yeah, and if you have the sports stamps, you can send them in for the CGC, kind of just straight up card grading. Like they'll grade them and slab them. I've sent quite a few,
Right.
And there are ones that I could care less when they grade. I just thought they look awesome slabbed. I know I had a couple Richie Ashburn ones and old Chuck Klein and stuff. It's pretty cool.
Hitter will be a red flag. I don't know what you mean by that, Sadler fan. So anything about certain pills in the hitter will be a red flag. I don't know if I'm reading that right. Yeah, and believe me, if you ask me, I hope it's a question that I can either look up or call a friend, because I don't claim to know anything. I like to talk. So, just a joke. I got you about phishing email scams. Oh, okay. Yeah. I'm sorry. Oh, my actual company got hacked this year, ransom. So I have to be ultra careful. I got you, Sadler fan. I'm sorry, buddy. So I take email things very, very, very serious. It didn't shut us down, though. We just went to old school pen and paper and telephones. That's how we communicated. And we just started SAP. And if anybody knows anything about that, we had to just started it that week and had to stop it. That was my third company that I've done SAP with. So that was fun. But sorry about that. Lindor is actually having a good night. So Mike, did you see what Araz said about the trade from Miami to the Padres?
I did not.
So he was thankful that he got out of Miami, and he said he'll never forgive the Twins for trading them to Miami.
I did see a statistic today. I don't know. I didn't really look into it too much, but it was like a comparison of him and Tony Gwynn through the same career games, and their numbers were very, very similar.
I don't. Juan was having a good year until he got hurt. But
I don't know what the age difference was through that same amount of games, but I mean that just shows the quality of hitter this guy is.
Right. And we always joke about, could Tony Gwynn play in today's game? But some guys can play at any level now. Because the only players that I question is like the Ozzie Smiths, because he just didn't hit for power or anything. Get out ball. Damn it. All right.
You might be upset at my nephew.
Why?
He got I don't know, man. So one of my brothers gave him a pack of. It was a family thing last week at one of my brother's house. There's a lot of brothers, so I'm gonna keep saying one of my brothers. But he sent over a pack for him of Topps Heritage that he bought at Target. And I guess he opened it later. So he asked me, he's like, "Oh, do you know if he opened it?" I was like, "Oh, I don't know. I haven't talked to him." So that brother, my nephew, they weren't able to make it to where some of us were hanging out with my mom. But they FaceTimed, and I got on there real quick. I was like, "Hey, did you open your pack? Steven wants to know. Uncle Steven wants to know if you opened your pack." And he's like, "Oh yeah, I opened it." I was like, "Oh, what's the best card you got?" He's like, "Well, best card or my favorite card?" I was like, "Well, each." He's like, "Well, the best card was probably Pete Alonso, but I'm gonna give that to a friend of mine that's on my team because he's a Mets fan, and I don't need a Mets card in my collection. But my favorite card's a Bryson Stott, so he
Oh,
he, he can't collect Pete because he's a Met. So I mean that's good in my eyes. But hey, at least he's giving it to a Pete fan.
There you go. I used to PC Harper. You know that until Harper traded. He was a trader, man. So I sold all my Harpers. They're gone. I said, "You're not to me. You're dead to me." I still like to watch him play. I ain't gonna lie. I love watching him hit. And I love it.
Mets.
I love that he grew up and has been a great addition for y'all's team. Really, he's really grown up in there. If Alejandro Kirk can play in the big leagues right now, Tony Gwynn sure can't. Yeah, but Kirk, man, behind the plate, Joe, that dude's an Iron Man. He is built like a potato, but he never misses a game. You know who I'm talking about, Mike?
Yeah, for the Blue Jays.
Yeah.
Big catcher.
I mean, he's a pretty good catcher, too. He's not like us. I mean, he's a major league catcher, no doubt about it. And your catcher doesn't have to hit. He's got to play defense and run your pitching staff. If he hits, it's a plus. I mean, Real Muto, we were talking about me and you. He's gotten older, but, man, he's still got wheels.
I saw sprint speed for the Phillies. It was like top 8 sprint speeds on the roster or something. I don't know if it's based on one game.
For the Pirates, that was really fast back in the day, in the 90s.
Kendall?
Yes, Jason Kendall. I could not think of his name today. Where were you at when me and my dad was doing our thing? Jason Kendall.
If it's on video, I'll have to post a comment.
You do. We couldn't think of that name or the Washington National that kept going up and down third baseman. Killed it in AAA, but every time he came up,
Carter Kieboom.
Yes, Carter Kieboom. But there goes, he's got a funny name. I can't think of it. We could not think of it. Carter Kieboom. I need to have you on as a producer for our channel.
That guy, man, has so much talent, but just can never put it. He's one of those guys that just shreds it at AAA and then gets that. It's just
a little bit. We were talking about 4A players. Yep. Like he's a 4A guy. He just could not put it together in the majors.
But it was like the top sprint speeds for Phillies players, and I think it was the center fielder Rojas, and then Trey Turner like a tenth of right behind him. And then Whit Merrifield, who's a little older, and then Real Muto was like 4th, and it's like that's amazing that a 32-year-old catcher. It's not like they have a slow team, but like the guy.
That's how I'm running the bases last weekend. I was like, holy cow! Since now that my work schedule allows me to watch baseball now, when I'm not sleeping and feel like I'm gonna cough myself to death. Which I am feeling a lot better tonight, so we'll be going to work tomorrow. If anybody caught me yesterday, I was kind of babbling. I rewatched it, and I did have medicine in me. So I'm glad I did get something out. I thought I did pretty well. I was excited yesterday to do that. My mom was really... I didn't even know there was a VR thing right now. I apologize, but my mom was very instrumental in a lot of things that I did growing up and backed me up on everything. Still does, till fault. I'm still her little boy. And what's Mike's take on skiing? Joe wants to know.
I thought you were about to say skiing. I was like, I don't give a damn about skiing.
I don't either.
Obviously, he's been sensational in the minors. He started out great. I know the game got delayed by rain and he ran into a little trouble. I get it. Pitching's different now and all this. I think it's kind of bizarre the way the Pirates have been bringing him along with the 3 innings only. And then all of a sudden you let him go into the 4th in the majors.
Yeah.
First off, I don't know why you didn't just start the season in the majors if you're only going to go 3 innings. But
well, my whole thing, like
I mean, I know they're going to limit his innings, this and that, and I think they think if he only goes 3 innings, he can go for a longer part of the year. But it's like, I don't know.
Think they're going to make the playoffs? I mean, they could, I guess. Anybody.
It's possible, but pretty unlikely.
But here's my thing, because my dad thinks his future might be a closer. Spoiler alert for what we talk about, because he's got 2 very, very good pitches, which is his fastball and slider. And if you want him to go hard, that'll be his best opportunity, is to be the closer, if he's got the mentality to do it. And he thinks that's why they're doing 3 innings. And then I think because of the Pirates, being the Pirates, they already have 2 or 3 kind of bigger contracts now. They're knowing they're not going to be able to pay Skeens. Skeens is 3 years at most. Well, I don't think he'll make it a 4th year, because that'll be his walk year. They're going to want to trade him his 3rd year so they'll get a return in the draft. I think that's how it works. So, but this year doesn't count because he came up so late. And also his card is a rookie card, Mike. Just like
I did see that. Are you you didn't order one, did you? Or did you?
No, I haven't yet. Wait, got me one?
I mean, if you want one, I'm gonna order a group of them. They did the bastards. They pulled the same shit with Jackson Holiday. Their bulk pricing on that card is $2 more than most cards, so it's like minimum price is $650. It's ridiculous.
Yeah, you can get me one. Just throw it in my stack whenever I owe you at the time.
It's up to you. I was just offering. That goes for any Big Scott 35 Let's Talk viewers. Anyone needs a Paul Skeens for $650.
Oh, this is going to be the 1,000 viewer mark this week. Everybody's going to be watching. Like, share, and comment for a chance at a Skeens.
But since it was like May 11th, May 12th, I was wondering if that was the first card where I was like, I don't know if this one will be a rookie.
I didn't either, and I think at sometime this month or at the end of this month, they'll start doing the call ups. I talked about it earlier in the show, and what the difference is. Because I was really worried they were going to try to hold him off till next year's product. But
it's definitely, I think for them, they're better off doing the rookie card because it's such a crapshoot with pitchers.
Right.
Because if he did get hurt later in the year, that hurts their current top. I mean, we know every year, even if there's no top prospect, someone's going to get hot and be, not every year it turns out to be a great rookie class, but there's always someone who's hyped in some way, shape, or form. So some guys will develop and get hot, but they do like to pre-plant it a little bit and plant those seeds. Yeah, and I think it's obviously a little more risky with the pitcher.
Some guys take a little bit longer to develop as well. We want to poo-poo on them so fast. Because a couple of guys are becoming, pretty good players. I'm still watching Cronenworth, man. I'm not as hyped on him as I once was, but I think he's having a pretty good season. He's playing first. So at San Diego, because I'm pulling for San. I want somebody to beat the Dodgers.
I know. Cronenworth had a big second game of the year too. That second game in Korea.
Yeah,
didn't he have like 6 RBIs or something?
Something like that, man. But he's had a pretty good season altogether.
I mean, these guys don't just lose the talent overnight. Like, that's the thing. People want to give up on guys like Jackson Holiday. I've heard people like, yeah, he just doesn't have it. Like, the guy's played 2 weeks in the big leagues. He's 20 years old.
20 years old. 20.
And again, there's a difference between hobby good and all that nonsense. But like, it's like in the hobby, people like to make jokes about Greg Jeffries. It's like, listen, Greg Jeffries was not a Hall of Famer. Was he as good as he was hyped? No. The guy was a multi-time All-Star, played over 10 years in the big leagues. Like, he was a good overall major league player. And people in the hobby act like he was a bum.
He was a plus on every. He was a plus player for the Mets. He was a plus player for the Phillies. You know, he wasn't a bum. He was an all-star. I say the same thing. I'm like, yes, was he a Hall of Famer? No, but is that where we put these guys? You're either Hall of Famer or bust. How long? He played like 15 years in the league too, didn't he?
He played for quite a while. I mean,
So,
when he come up with the Mets in
pretty good.
'89, he was on the Phillies in like I want to say like '96, '97, '98, that era. So, and he was somewhere after that. So he had to have played, you know, at least a dozen years.
Yeah, yeah. We're so quick as a hobby to shelf people, and it seems like when the shyness, we can't bring that shyness back once the they've tarnished. It's hard for them to, once they're forgotten about in the hobby, which is fine with me. I'll collect them and I'll be happy to have their cards. You know, everybody wants to poo-poo Trout because he's hurt again. I'm still a Trout. Do I buy his cards? No, but I can't buy everything. Everybody knows I'm a sellout right now for Pete Alonso and other, David Wright stuff and UVA. That's basically where I'm at right now. And even I do some non-sports stuff, cards as well.
Batman collector.
Yeah. I talked about that yesterday too, Mike. And we're running over. This is why I like to be on at 8. So if I feel like the conversation's still good, I'm going to keep going a little bit.
People roll in 30 minutes late, then, you can stay a few minutes extra. Shit happens.
Yeah. So my question, Mike, is like I talked about yesterday, like right now I've gotten into gaming a little bit more and picking up some other stuff. And it's not like I moved away from cards at all. It's just I just needed something to spice it up for a minute. I needed I'm getting tired of saltine crackers. I needed a Ritz cracker.
Big step up there.
Right. So do you do that at all? I know, what is your, when you get into a rut or you feel like it's the same, because I'm having fun right now going through my cards for the upkeep time and going and doing what we just did with Jeffries. I do that with players all the time. I hit a guy that I have all these cards of, and I'm like, oh yeah, I remember I was pretty high on this guy. And for me, I don't mean I'm pretty high like I'm buying cards to flip. I'm pretty high where I put them in my collection because I like this guy. That's how I look at it. Oh, well, thank you. That's something that'll always be here. I love Star Wars. You see, I got the flag behind me. Right behind me is all Star Wars cards.
Have you picked up anything from that Sapphire set that came out on May 4th, or did you even look into it to see how
I didn't even know a Sapphire set came out on May 4th.
It was wasn't there the 25th anniversary or something of the thing that has Jar Jar Binks? I forget what they're called. The first of the new ones.
The prequels?
Yeah.
Oh,
yeah.
What was the first one? Now you put me on a spot. I was about to say Awakens, but that's the 6th one. I don't know. I forget. I like all of them. Is it the 25th anniversary for that?
I don't know. It was something.
Thank you, Saddle.
I know they did. They offered the pre-sale to the Montgomery Club. It was ridiculous. It was like $300. It's like $10-11 a card. And I know it had come out.
I am not a fan of the Sapphire all that much because, and I'll tell you why. In those back pages even brought it up. So they have to get the cards okayed by Disney and Lucas before they tops do them. So they didn't want the main picture of the card covered with the blue sapphire. or the diamond stuff, the atomic refractor.
Yeah.
They didn't want that color on there. They didn't want to detract from the image. So they only do the border. I do have some cards from the first Galaxy edition where they did the atomic refractor clear, and I really like those. I have a couple of different sand troopers and snow troopers. Oh, here you go, Saddle Fan. I showed this on my other channel, my new Star Wars pickup. If you wanted to check, I love Stormtroopers, so I picked this up yesterday. It's as big as my head, so love that. Got it from a secondhand store that's near me, McKay's, and saw it. I was like, yeah, that's going home with me. No, I didn't. And I'm not a big fan of it. I think it's severely overpriced, like we talked about. If I'm going to spend that much money on Star Wars cards, it's not going to be Sapphire. I'm going to pick up an auto of the character actor I really like. I'm going to pick up a 77. Really nice.
I wasn't sure if they had put autographs of anyone new in it or anything like that. I know they were advertising autographs, but
I really like the new Galaxy one they came out with, and also the Chrome edition. I bought 2 boxes of the newest Chrome edition and got the same autograph of the same character. Didn't like that. So, and it's a character out of a video game. It's not even a well-known character. One of the sisters.
So it's basically the equivalent of getting a relief pitcher auto.
Yeah. Well, I did get that in a Star Wars when I got the actual name of the character was Officer. That was his name of the character, Officer. So I was like, what the hell? It's some guy that's worked on several of the films, and they let him have a role in the film, and doesn't even have a name for the character. Now, what Star Wars likes to do is those type of characters, they'll make a book series out of that character or a side series or something, and then they'll give him a name. Because like a lot of those bounty hunters back in the day, in the first 3 movies in the 70s and 80s, they didn't have names either. They came when they made the figures or whatever. And that's when they gave them the names. So, and then they made comic books and other stuff with the names of those bounty hunters. So that little trivia for you. But, I have a character autograph of the character was Officer.
Officer. Great card.
Yeah. It must be Daryl Strawberry bobblehead night there at the game. I know they were selling a couple of weeks ago, almost got the Pete Alonso for like $80-some. I almost pulled the trigger for it.
For what, a bobblehead?
Yeah. That's kind of what they go
a stadium giveaway?
Yeah.
Man, this Friday night, Phillies, Bryson Stott bobblehead day. Everyone I know that I wanted to see if they wanted to go. Everyone's got stuff going on.
Yep. Well, Mike, I'm going to end this here tonight. I want to again thank everybody that stopped by here tonight. Thank everybody that watches this later. Please hit the thumbs up or I don't care how you interact. Please interact. I love the interaction tonight. Y'all don't know how much it means to me that y'all, thank you, Hodges, that y'all choose to come here. It means so much to me. It does. And I don't know what really to say other than that. So please like, share, subscribe, tell a friend. And until next time, see ya.
Peace.